Hi, I'm Kevin. I've been a YouTube polyglot for 9 years and a real-life polyglot for like 15 years? I don't know. I lost count after my third identity crisis. Believe it or not, but I'm also a qualified French language teacher and a linguist, which I hope means I can bring a bit of wisdom, let's say, on the topic of language learning. And since I've been around the online polyglot and language learning space for a while, I think it's safe to say that I know what's up. So in this video, I'd like to talk about online polyglot content and what to look out for when consuming that content. And also some lessons I've learned along the way from being an actual polyglot myself. Confession 1, Polyglot YouTube is performative as hell. Okay, we're gonna start with a big one. I'm gonna need you to hold my hand while I say this, but a lot of the language learning videos you see online are basically bullshit. It's charisma plus clickbait plus a title like I learned Spanish so fast it feels illegal, and suddenly everyone is like, oh my god, he must be a genius. Meanwhile, if we are being honest, most of the time they are probably A2 in the language, which is not bad, of course, but it's misleading. I feel like people don't realize how ridiculously easy it can be to seem fluent online. You rehearse a simple script, stick to the safest vocabulary, film 20 takes, and choose the one where your accent sounds decent, and bam! Suddenly you look like a prodigy. It's basically linguistic cosplay, and the audience, they eat it up. Because many people don't necessarily understand how editing works or what fluency actually looks like. So they see a short edited video of someone speaking and go, damn, he or she must be fluent, when in fact, we can't know for sure. For all we know, that person might only sound fluent in that one carefully edited moment and absolutely crumble if you try to have a real conversation with them. And honestly, maybe I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit, but I don't think it's completely their fault. After all, platforms reward sensationalism. But I think it does become a problem when real learners watch this and think they haven't got it all figured out like the people they watch online. Having said that, because I don't want to sound overly dramatic, there's definitely people who are proficient in the languages they claim to be fluent in, of course. What I'm trying to say, I guess, is that it's important to take things with a pinch of salt and never take everything at face value, and remember that the internet is mostly not real. Confession number 2, learning languages takes years, not talent. My impression of how people see polyglots online is that they usually see them as naturally gifted, but the reality is years of repetition, effort, and daily discipline. In my opinion, and maybe that's just me, I feel like most of your language learning progress comes from boring, unglamorous work. For example, Anki, reading, listening, practicing, failing as well. Of course, I'm not saying boring in the literal sense, because that would be crazy. What I'm saying is that it comes from pretty normal activities, nothing exciting and nothing to write home about. That's why whenever people try to come up with crazy and overly complicated language learning methods, my brain always goes, what the f***? Adding on to my previous point, I feel like it's also very easy to see the final result of someone being fluent, but you might not realize the thousands of hours behind it, and that can kind of cloud your judgment a little bit. But even if you're aware of all the time it takes to become fluent, I think it's worth noting that the older you get, the more effort it takes. Not in the sense that your brain gets older and less able, but more in the sense that life gets in the way. Sorry to be depressing for a minute, but if you're a grown up, you have a job, responsibilities, maybe children, and that takes time away from, doing language learning potentially. You can't spend hours every day learning a language like you could when you were at school or uni. So naturally, it makes the process of learning a language take more time. Now, don't make me say what I didn't. You can 100% learn a language at any age. I'm simply suggesting we manage our expectations a little bit. Confession number 3, beginners can easily be fooled. This confession does tie into the first one a bit, but when you don't speak a language well, it is ridiculously easy to think someone else does. Eveldia, a great polyglot colleague of mine, makes a lot of videos debunking polyglots pretending to speak, I don't know, 20 languages when they really don't. And he made this great video about this guy who teaches French online. I mean, he teaches other languages, but whatever. And he literally doesn't speak French well at all.
C'est le même de parler un peu de langue romane. Le français, c'est clairement ma préférée dans cette famille. On dit que le français, c'est la langue de l'amour dans le monde entier. La grammaire est pas trop compliquée, mais la prononciation, c'est pas facile. Le français, c'est facile pour les Européens, mais pour les Indiens, pas vraiment.
Honestly, it's wild. And he does that in other languages as well, and I'm really not confident his level in these languages is much better than his French, but what do I know? And the wildest part is that people take him seriously in his comment section. Thousands of learners seem to believe he's a legit good language teacher. And to me, it comes down to basically, if you're a beginner, you don't have the tools or the knowledge to judge if someone's speaking well or not. That's the thing that I feel a lot of people don't realize. It's so easy to look legit to non-experts. If the accent sounds vaguely correct, if the person speaks confidently, if the video is polished, boom, you assume authority, you assume fluency. But confidence is not the same thing as competence. This is why Polyglot YouTube can be so misleading. A beginner can't tell the difference between rehearsed, memorized, surface level speech and actual fluency. So someone can speak absolute chaos French, but as long as they smile and roll their enough, people will be like, wow, native speaker. Listen, this is not about drugging anyone, it's simply a reality check. If you're new to a language, you literally can't reliably evaluate someone's level, which means that the internet can seem full of people who sound impressive until an actual speaker shows up. Take me as an example. I'm actively learning Japanese and I'm probably around A2 level, on good days. This means that yes, I can somewhat recognize a native accent, but really I'm just an idiot in Japanese. So of course I don't doubt that most people could fool me into thinking they're fluent in Japanese, even if they're not. Some disclaimer here, because I don't want to get dragged in the comment section. But it's absolutely okay to not sound perfect in a language. The issue I have is when people exaggerate their skills and make themselves sound like they are more proficient or knowledgeable than they actually are. That's it. Confession 4, there are no hacks. You can't learn a language fast. I do not care how many TikToks or YouTube videos tell you that you can become fluent in 3 months or learn a language while you sleep. It's just not happening. Yes, you can of course optimize your routine, and yes, you can absolutely find techniques that are better than others, but at the end of the day, learning a language to a serious level will take you years, as I mentioned earlier. Admittedly, it could be shorter if your goals are less ambitious, like if you just want to learn touristy language, for example. But here's the thing, which kind of drives me crazy, but also I get it, of course, is that people love the idea of learning fast. They love hacks, they love magic shortcuts, but there is no recipe. For me, it all comes down to time, how much input you put in, how much output you force yourself to do, and how consistent you are. That's it, that's the whole secret, but it's not sexy, it doesn't sell, so nobody says it. Now, as I said, you can absolutely optimize your learning, and I think tools can help, but tools are not fluency. Let's take apps for example. They are fine if you enjoy them, but personally I think they are mostly overrated. In my opinion, the thing that makes the biggest difference is accessing level appropriate native content as soon as you possibly can. Real language, real content, real people. But also a few words about AI, because I think it's a hot topic at the moment, and in my opinion, it can definitely be really useful. I personally use it quite a lot for my Japanese because you can practice conversations, get instant corrections, ask for explanations, etc. But even then, I don't think there's anything that can replace exposure to the language as it's actually used by, real human beings. At the end of the day, you can't hack your way around hours of listening, reading, repeating, failing, and trying again. The truth nobody wants to hear is this. Fluency is not a trick, it's a habit. You build it like you build muscle, slowly, consistently, painfully, and over a long period of time. So those were my confessions, and yes, some of them might sound a little bit spicy, but I am sharing them because I think the online language learning world desperately needs more transparency. There are so many illusions out there, so many shortcuts being marketed, so many creators pretending to be perfect. And learners end up feeling discouraged, thinking that they are failing because they cannot match the polished version of fluency they see online. So please take what you see on the internet with a pinch of salt, and if you enjoyed this video, maybe I'll do a part 2. And if you've watched this video up to that point, I love to do that, I'd like you to drop a fruit emoji, whichever you want. And on that note, thank you for listening to me rambling, I appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.